Well, Ben, thanks for joining me here to have this conversation. Ever since I've been here at this church, I've heard about you. And I know that since the very beginning of your life, you've faced a lot of medical challenges. And you've persevered every challenge you face. Could you start by just telling us what happened? I know your parents told you over and over again, but what happened when you were born?
So when I was born with 3 medical conditions. One being hydrocephalus. And I get this question asked almost all the time when I was in elementary school. Because some kids will say, oh, did I break my right hand? Which the answer is no, I was born with this. It's called a condition of hemiparesis.
Yes, which means a weakness, right?
Yes.
You have a weakness on the one side of your body, so you can't use your hand fully, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you were born with this hydrocephalus. Then what did it mean for you as you were navigating that? Now, you were an infant, but what happened with that?
For hydrocephalus, it was difficult for my family.
Yes, tell me.
Because before I was 5 months old, we found out I was diagnosed with hydrocephalus because my mom took me to my doctor and then had to measure my head.
Yes. And your head was getting bigger.
Yes.
So what happened next?
So luckily, my family took me to Children's Memorial Hospital in Chicago.
Yes.
In June of 2001. And that's when I got a VP shunt put in.
Oh my. What does that mean that you had a shunt put in?
So to put in perspective, the VP shunt, or nowadays a programmable shunt, makes sure that the pressure is stable. If the fluid builds up in my body too much, that could kill me, since I had learned that hydrocephalus is fatal if left untreated.
Oh my gosh, so tell me, in hearing your parents tell you about this, when you had the hydrocephalus, was that a time when they were just really worried about you even surviving?
To put in that perspective, no, that was when I had hemispherectomy as well.
Oh my gosh, so tell us about what that was.
So for hemispherectomy, after my first surgery, so basically my mom had noticed that I was having seizures at Baltimore, but they decided to take me to Cleveland because it's a better drive there.
So you probably don't have any really memory of that hospitalization, do you?
No.
So what did your parents share with you about that experience?
They were scared.
Yes.
Because at that moment, it was like a life or death situation.
Yes.
Because what they did was I had to get a left side hemispherectomy.
Right, that's what you said, which means you have to take part of your brain out, right?
Yes, this side of the brain.
Because of the seizures.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure your parents were scared about that.
And after surgery, I was in the PICU for a while.
Yes, that's the intensive care, yes.
And then they had transferred me to a regular hospital room.
Right.
After a certain amount of time. And throughout my life, I had noticed a lot of things were meant for two-handed people.
Right.
And I was really upset.
Right.
And with that being in mind, when I was in Friendship Junior High, we had noticed my headaches getting more prominent.
Oh boy. So now you're getting older and you're having more medical problems.
Yeah. And we noticed something was not right.
Oh boy.
At the time. And we've tried every solution known to man to get rid of my headaches. And if you look at it, 0 of them helped.
Wow. Let's stop for just a minute, Ben. You have told me so much and I want to recap. So after you were born, you had this hydrocephalus and you had to have a shunt put in. And then later you had seizures and you had to have some brain surgery to take care of that. And so all of these medical conditions are leaving you with some challenges. I just want to stop for a minute and think about that, how much you went through. Wow. So Ben, I'm thinking about everything you've just shared with me about those early years and your challenges and having some physical limitations. You said your right side has some paralysis.
That's correct.
And then you went to school. So can you share with us the challenges you faced going to school with some physical limitations?
So I had to adapt to everything,
Yeah.
such as there are some binders which were hard for me because I had to use two hands,
Yes.
which luckily I had a friend of mine in high school show me a one-handed trick,
Oh, wow.
and it helped me out.
What are some other things that were real challenges for you? I think you have some vision problems also,
Yes.
don't you? Can you talk about that a little bit?
So I have a visual impairment
Uh-huh.
called hemianopsia,
Okay.
which is if I look straight and put my hand where my nose is, I can't see out the right side for both eyes,
I gotcha.
and which is really hard for me every time because I don't normally look on that side and I get rammed into all the time.
Oh, boy. So you have to kind of compensate for that limited vision you
Yes.
have. Wow. What other things have you had to be challenged on? You couldn't use your hand, so you had to you had to learn to write with just the one hand, but I guess you were left-handed. You made yourself be left-handed, is that right?
Yeah, I was born like that.
Yeah.
Because with the three conditions I was born with, it was really difficult, and I would also like to say that I've figured out that a lot of families have like an older sibling that treat their younger sibling who has a disability like they have a disability. Unlike my three older brothers, they've act completely different.
Oh, I love this story. So they didn't act like you had a disability.
That's correct.
How did they act? Like you just like everybody else?
Yes.
Oh, wow. How'd that make you feel?
A lot better.
So Ben, I know you just from here and how you push yourself out there. It seems like you just kept finding ways to do things, and you kept finding ways to be engaged in life, even with some limitations. Can you speak about that? Is that just who you are, a go-getter?
For some, yes. I'm sometimes a really good go-getter
Yeah.
because if I notice something's not right, then I immediately modify it or add to the person who made like that certain product.
Right. Wow. That's wonderful. You're trying to improve things for everybody.
Yep.
Wow, Ben, that says a lot. Let's just stop for a second and, you've said so much here. I want to just take that in. So I'm still thinking about all that's happened in your early years. And as I've talked to you, you also said that like something else happened to you when you were in middle school that was pretty traumatic. Can you share that story?
Yes. So during my time at Friendship Junior High, all of a sudden my headaches started to get more prominent,
Oh, yes.
which rose a little bit of red flags for my
Yes,
family.
of course. With your hydrocephalus, headaches would be
Yep.
something to be concerned about.
And if you're wondering, we had tried every solution known to man, and all the solutions had failed us, except for one, where the Friendship Junior High School nurse, we actually owe her huge thanks.
Yes, the nurse at the school?
Yes.
Tell me, what did she do?
She had called my mom and said that she had a girl come into her office with all these headaches, and she kept mints in her office, and we tried mints and it worked.
Oh, wow. So mints just helped. Oh, that was huge. But then something else happened.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
Fast forwarding to my freshman year of high school. So my mom was planning a barbecue, and then on Saturday, over Labor Day weekend, we were having McDonald's as usual, and then we were having ice cream and I said I was full, which rose a little bit of red flags from my mom, because I said my head was hurting. So my mom said, "Here, we'll take some Tylenol when we get home." I said, "All right." So I took some Tylenol. Unfortunately, that had failed us, and once again, the pain started rising.
Oh, boy. What happened this time? Did you go to the hospital?
Yes, the very next day.
And then tell me what happened with that.
So what happened was overnight, my pain started rising again.
Uh-huh.
So my parents decided to take me to the hospital. They didn't know which one to go to because since we live near Alexan Brothers.
Right.
So they decided to take me to Larry's.
Yes.
Which was a huge relief.
Right decision, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so what happened? You went to Lurie's?
Yes. And all of a sudden, we had all these x-rays done, we had all these tests done, and we thought like they were just gonna discharge us. And I was just praying, I hope my neurosurgeon team makes the right call.
Yeah.
And luckily they did.
What was the call?
They said they wouldn't discharge us from the hospital without a shunt series.
Okay.
And I was really glad they did make the right call.
Did that take care of your pain and your
Yes.
headaches? And
Yeah, because I had a CT done and X-ray done, and we found out the shunt tubing right here broke in 2 different spots.
oh my, no wonder you had headaches. So Ben, you mentioned something that I want to go back to, because this is kind of important to our whole conversation. As you said, you prayed to God, and I know that you're a man of faith. Can you speak a little bit about your faith and how God has been with you during all of this?
Yes, because ever since birth, when I was going all through that medical time,
Yeah.
like I could tell I couldn't tell the time, but like I had a feeling that the whole congregation was just praying for me. To be
Yeah,
okay.
oh my gosh, yes. The whole congregation was praying for you.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I
I mean, could you feel that force?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
isn't that something?
Oh yeah.
So I want to go forward now, because man, you've had all of these health experiences, challenges, and now you are graduated from high school, and
Yes.
you're taking some additional classes,
Yes.
and you're our video guy here at church, and you're
Yes.
able to do stuff. So now when you look at that, it's just amazing everything you've been through. Do you ever think back on all of that and where you are now?
A little bit.
Yeah, what?
Because at the time when my shunt had failed, so the nurse actually had to say I had to stay overnight,
Yeah.
which my mom and I were both unprepared.
Yes.
Because you may not know this, but my mom would always pack a suitcase every time we go to the hospital, just in case if we had to stay overnight.
Right.
And that day she did not.
Wow.
Which
So that was really a trying time.
Yeah.
But look at you now and how successful you are now. What do you attribute that to? You're not letting your disability limit you.
Oh yeah. For that, I had taken more precautions after freshman year. I turned on VoiceOver for my phone, Apple Watch, iPad, and my laptop.
Yep. So all your IT equipment can
Yeah.
accommodate to your needs.
And then what I also did was I turned on speak screen
Uh-huh.
to make sure like that's all good to go. So then I can navigate to VoiceOver quickly.
Yeah.
And I had noticed my buddy who's blind, he got me into the program through Google, and that's how he actually saved me money, and also I've been making money, like the vendors. So I get to test the products before they're released to the public.
So that's one of the work you do now is testing products.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
It is really nice to doing it because there are some creators like in the world like who not know that, and it makes me like feel better, like feel more proud.
Like you have a purpose,
Yeah.
right? You've got an avenue of a future or employment is doing
Yeah.
that kind of testing. Yeah. So you know what you're sharing here, Ben, is that we need to realize that people with disabilities are people just like you and like everybody.
Yes.
We're all the same, and
Yeah.
sometimes they just need special needs.
Yeah.
And we need to kind of be attentive to that, right?
Yes. Talk back.
Wow. Well, Ben, you've shared a lot today that's been so important, and I so appreciate you coming here and sharing your story. You know, you have certainly persevered with a lot of challenges that you face, and each time it seems like you found a way through in
Yes.
order to be successful, and that speaks a lot to the person you are.
Yes.
So I just want to thank you for coming today
Thank you.
and for sharing your story.
Thank you.
All right.